Hi, everyone. I'm Karen, the Diabetes Sisters content manager. Today, I'm excited to discuss one of our most popular topics, food and recipes, with our special guest, Shelby. Hi, Shelby.
Hi, Karen. How are you?
Doing good. So, for those that don't know you, you're a published author. You live with diabetes. You're a Diabetes Sisters volunteer. You lead our Richmond, Chesterfield, PODS peer support group, and you're a
Mhm.
wonderful diabetes advocate. So that's quite a list. Have I left anything out?
No, that's a pretty extensive list. I also do some teaching, which I'm trying to focus on now. So that's kind of what I'm going to have going on in the fall. But you covered it pretty well.
What kind of things do you teach? Are they food related or
Yeah, so I do some cooking classes. I do some I'm getting into some kind of healthy aging kind of classes. So, all the factors that go into keeping your brain and your body and everything healthy and in peak working order as you get older, because the older I get, the more interested I am in that. So
I hear you right there with you. Awesome. Those are very valuable topics to spread knowledge about.
Mhm.
But today I wanted to talk about your two most recent cookbooks, which are the Diabetes Slow Cooker Cookbook and the
Mhm.
Diabetes Electric
Mhm.
Cooker, the Diabetes Cookbook for Electric Pressure Cookers.
Oh yeah, and mine is showing backwards, but you get the idea.
Oh, mine might be too. That's okay. So my pressure cooker and my slow cooker get a lot of use all winter long. But I have to admit, in the summer, they kind of gather dust as we move more towards grilling and cold meals like salads and sandwiches. Should we be using these tools in the summer as well?
Absolutely. And I think the main reason is because they don't heat up your house the way the oven and the stove do.
Mm.
Yeah, grilling is great, salads are great, but you get tired of those after a while. And even if you do want a salad, you can cook the meat, in the slow cooker or the Instant Pot to kind of put on top of the salad. So you can use it even if you want to kind of stick with salads.
Oh, I never thought of that.
Yeah, and I think, you do a lot of like I know I have much more energy in the summer just because it doesn't get dark at 4:30, so I have more energy in the evening. So I think if you don't spend as much time in the kitchen, you have a lot more energy and a lot more time to do some other things you might want to do. So I think it frees you up a little bit, and
Mhm.
it doesn't heat up your kitchen. So those are kind of, and also if you can I think in the summer too, you do a lot of eating with other people. You go to
Mhm.
potlucks and picnics and cookouts and that sort of thing. And so these two devices are real good for like cooking for a lot of people at once. So you can do that if you're going to a party. It's easy to take something, or if you just want to kind of cook in bulk for home and cook some meat or something, and you can have it over multiple meals over multiple days. And so you've only got to cook once and you can eat multiple times. So I think
Love that.
all of those things are good for the summer. Yeah.
Even sometimes, I like to cook a big batch and then put it in the freezer. So
Yes,
maybe not use it during that week, but maybe in the weeks to come. And then it's
exactly. Yeah,
less
freezer
cooking
meals
to
are the
do in the
best, aren't
future.
they? Especially if you travel a lot and you come in and you haven't been to the grocery store. Hey, you can pull something
Yeah,
out of the freezer.
it's waiting for you in the freezer.
Yeah, it's great when you get back from summer vacation and you have nothing. So
Right. We've all been there.
yes,
Keeps us from doing takeout.
yeah, definitely, definitely.
So while we have you, our expert on slow cookers and instant cookers, I'd love to hear what your go-to summer recipes are that work well, not just for summer eating, but for summer eating for people who live with diabetes. Because
Yeah.
sometimes we're looking for very specific recipes that are maybe lower in carb, less fats, less salts, things like that. Do you have any that you recommend or
Oh,
any favorite?
sure. Yeah. One of my really favorite things to do in the Instant Pot is electric pressure cooker. Instant Pot's kind of the brand name, but that's probably what we'll
Mhm.
say because that's what most people know.
Right.
Um, but I like to take chicken breasts with bone and with skin because I think they taste better if you cook them with the skin and the bone. But you
Interesting.
saute some onions and celery and carrots, and then you add some hot sauce and some vinegar, and a little garlic powder, and kind of put it skin down in the Instant Pot and cook your
Okay.
chicken that way. So you're getting all those great flavors of buffalo chicken wings, but you're not getting the fat from the butter, and you're not getting the fried from the chicken and all of that. So it's a healthier way to get all the flavors of buffalo chicken. And then you have cooked chicken, and you can put it on salads, you can put it on top of a baked potato, you can put it in tacos, however you like to eat shredded chicken. But I just like, I love buffalo chicken, but chicken wings are not, the most healthy thing you can eat. So
Agreed.
that's one of my, and you can also use that same technique with the chicken with different flavors. So you could do an Asian kind of flavor. You could use,
Mm.
soy sauce and ginger and garlic and that kind of flavor in your sauce. But and you can cook, as many breasts as you want. And then you've got, again, the shredded chicken to kind of use all week. So
And
that's one of my very favorite things to do.
yeah, I like that. I love the idea of changing up the seasonings to change the flavor profiles. And do you cook your onions and peppers and what have you on the stove and then put them in the Instant Pot, or do you
No,
do
no, no.
everything right in?
Yeah,
So
so
it's a
that's
one pot.
that's the beauty of Instant Pot versus slow cooker, right? Slow cooker, you
Right.
kind of have, if you want that nice, sauteed vegetable flavor, you have to do it on the stove first and then transfer it to the slow cooker. But in the Instant Pot, they have a saute feature, so you can just do it right in the pot with a little bit of, I usually use olive oil or avocado oil. Those are kind of
Mhm.
my go-tos. And you do it right in the pot, add the chicken, add the sauce, and close it up and cook it. So that's, in fact, we're having that for dinner tonight. So so
I
I love
love
doing stuff like that. I think
it.
one of my favorite things in the summer is going up the road to the farm and getting fresh corn on the cob. And that's a great thing to cook in the Instant Pot. You just shuck
Really?
it, snap it in half, and then use the rack that came with your Instant Pot and just
Mhm.
stand it up in the rack. Put a little bit
Oh,
of water in
okay.
the bottom, cook it for 5 minutes, and you got corn on the cob without having to boil water and heat up your stove.
5 minutes. Wow.
Yeah, so I love corn on the cob. Hard-boiled eggs I do, which are great,
Mhm.
for breakfast, for snacks.
Yep.
So that's a good thing to, and you can eat them cold, which is
Yeah.
nice for the summer. Um, let's see, what else do I like to do?
Any kind of desserts or anything that you
Sure,
can?
you can take all kinds of fruits that are plentiful in the summer and ripe and fresh that you can get at a farmer's market or even your grocery store. You can do cobbler type things
Mm.
in the slow cooker, or you can do a tip. So cobblers and crisps, are kind of different thing. Cobbler is more pastry, so I kind of stay away from those. But you can do
Right.
one little thin pastry. I kind of call it an upside down cobbler because you put the pastry on the bottom and the fruit on the top. In the
Okay.
slow cooker, because you want the pastry to kind of touch the slow cooker itself rather than being on the top and not having any contact with that surface.
Right.
But so to make it healthier for diabetes, you just don't use as much of the crust. It's just a little bit to kind of give you a little texture. But a
Right.
crisp, it's kind of hard. So a slow cooker environment is kind of moist,
Mhm.
which is good for a lot of things. But if you're making a crisp that has like, oatmeal and nuts and those kinds of things on top that you want to keep crisp, you don't want that moisture. So one thing you
Right.
can do if you want to make like a blueberry crisp or a peach crisp or something like that is put your peaches in, put a cinnamon stick, put whatever topping you want on top, and then put a towel on top of your pot before you put
Ah,
the lid on, and that towel will absorb some of that moisture and help your crispy topping stay crisp.
cool. So lay it right on top. Do you use a paper towel or like a tea
I
towel?
just use a dish towel. You want to make
Mhm.
sure it doesn't kind of dip in the middle and touch whatever you're cooking. So you want to keep
Okay.
it tight, but then just put the lid right on top, and
Cool.
it'll be a little damp when you're done. But that's what you want. That means it works. So
I
uh,
like it's kind of I think of it more as a fall thing, but I eat it all year round. Apple crisp. So do apples have less moisture than like a stone fruit or a berry?
I don't know they have less moisture, but they all work equally well. Berries work
Okay.
well. Strawberries kind of disintegrate, so
Mm.
they wouldn't be my first choice. But blueberries, blackberries, raspberries should all be okay. Any stone fruit, so anything with a big pit, peaches, nectarines, apricots, cherries, anything like
Mm.
that'll work really well. And those are usually things that are plentiful in the summer. Um, let's see. So, you can do combinations, peach and mango. You can do that as a crisp.
Oh, now you're
Um,
getting fancy.
yeah, yeah. But you could you could just take whatever fruits look good, you can mix them together and just do like a fruit compote, stick a cinnamon stick
Mhm.
in there, let them cook in the slow cooker for a while.
Right.
And then you can eat them warm or eat them cold or room temperature. So yeah, a lot fruit. I tend to dessert for me is usually fruit. So,
Mhm.
lots of fruity kind of things work well. And
Right.
you can also do dessert wise in the Instant Pot. You can make cheesecake. You have to get you have to get a cheesecake pan that actually fits inside your Instant Pot. Um,
Okay.
but I have a key lime cheesecake, crustless key lime cheesecake that uses swerve. So swerve is so
Oh.
I think it's 4 grams of carbs per slice.
Mhm.
But you can do it because you do need the moist environment for cheesecake. And if you've ever tried to
Right.
make cheesecake in the oven, it always cracks, or mine always did. But the nice moist environment in the Instant Pot keeps
Right.
that. So cheesecake is good in the Instant Pot as well.
Ah, that's great to know.
Yeah, yeah.
This is fantastic. I was just thinking back to the fruit crisp and the fruit compost and stuff. And I was thinking, if you made a big batch of like a fruit compote, then you can use it as a topping for maybe like a low sugar ice cream or a
Mhm.
frozen yogurt. That might make a lovely extra cooling dessert as well. It doesn't have to
Absolutely.
have
Or
the
even you
crumble
could,
topping.
yeah, yeah, or stir it into plain yogurt,
Hmm.
you
Oh
get
yeah.
creamy, that's a nice creamy thing too.
Right.
So
Right.
yeah, so those are
Excellent.
all good things. You can make applesauce. You were talking about how much you like apples. You think of
Yep.
apples more as a fall thing, but it works in the summer too. I'd
Hmm.
love to have cold applesauce with like seafood, which we eat a lot of in the summer. So
Right.
you can make plain applesauce, just peel your apples, throw them in the slow cooker with a cinnamon stick and maybe a little squeeze of lemon juice and just let them cook
Hmm.
for 4 or 5 hours, and then
Love
use a
that.
potato masher, mash them up, mash it up to whatever consistency you like, throw it in the fridge, and you've got applesauce.
With no
You could
added
also,
sugar or anything.
right, exactly. And then you can flavor that in different ways. You could throw in some vanilla bean. You could throw in some strawberries. Do a strawberry applesauce with vanilla.
Mm.
So yeah, you could throw in blueberry. Whatever combination you like that you see in the store. All the things that they're marketing to kids, all the different flavors that are loaded with sugar, but you can make your own that doesn't have sugar. So
And the summer berries bring a little summer to what's traditionally thought of as a fall applesauce kind of dish. So, oh, I love
exactly,
that.
exactly.
So,
But just, my thing is, just get whatever looks good at the store and use
mhm,
that because the fresher, riper things are generally better for you anyway. They have more nutrients and stuff. So
right.
buy whatever's in season if you can.
And it seems that when you buy things that are in season, they're usually a little less expensive too, as well as tasting better and possibly having more nutrients. They also help your wallet a bit.
Exactly. Especially these days.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, but
So
go ahead.
these are these are all great tips. But earlier we were talking about like going to a potluck or a summer picnic and like a big batch meal. Is there anything you love to bring to summer potlucks that are crowd pleasers?
Hmm. Pulled pork is always popular, and
Sure.
if you eat pineapple, you can throw some pineapple in with it. That's really tasty. That
Oh,
also
make it
makes a
like a
big difference.
Hawaiian kind of
Yeah,
spin.
exactly.
Oh, I
But
bet that goes fast.
pulled pork works great in the slow cooker. It works good in the Instant Pot as well. I usually do it in the slow cooker for some reason. I think it gets kind of little crispier edges in the slow cooker than it does in the Instant Pot.
And you
Uh,
look for a big pork roast or Uh,
So the ideal thing to use is what they call a Boston butt, and it has nothing to do with the rear end of the pig. It's
Never
just,
heard of it.
yeah, it's actually from the shoulder, kind of right behind the neck.
Okay.
And so ham is actually the butt, just so you know.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, but it's shoulder meat, and you can get it boneless or with a bone. It's really hard to cut off the bone. I found if you want to kind of trim some of the fat off, it does tend to be a fatty cut, which is kind of what makes it moist and yummy as pulled pork.
Okay.
But I definitely, if you go the Boston butt route, get a boneless one. It will make your life a lot easier if you do want to trim some of that fat
Got it.
off before you put it in. So Boston butt is good. You could also use like a loin roast or something like that, but I found those tend to get a little drier.
Mhm.
So if you want it like juicy and moist and that sort of thing, Boston butt is kind of my go-to. But it's not
Oh,
exactly the leanest cut out there.
right, right. Sometimes you need a little of that fat to give it the flavor though,
Right,
so
right. And you can do pork tenderloin. You just wouldn't cook that as long, and that's going to be a bit
Mhm.
more expensive. Boston butt is usually pretty cheap as cuts of pork go.
Perfect.
So
Excellent.
yeah, so
Well,
that's a
these
great.
are
I also like to do so both pots work well for beans if you like to cook beans. So like three
ah,
bean salad is a nice thing to take to a potluck, or any kind of beans, and you can make them if you make them yourself. You don't have to put all the brown sugar in that most baked beans and those kind of things.
right.
But you can do bean salads and cook your beans in the pot.
And
Um,
then, like, have a mix and, like, a vinaigrette dressing?
sure, yeah, yeah, that works
Ah,
really well.
excellent.
I like to make my own barbecue sauce because again, that's a thing that tends to have a lot of sugar in it.
Right.
When we were working, I can't remember if it was the slow cooker book or the Instant Pot book, but the dietitian that was working with me, I sent a recipe. I always sent her the recipes ahead, and she would calculate the nutrition to say, no, we got to cut this or cut that, or that's not
Right.
gonna whatever. And so I sent her a recipe that used barbecue sauce, and I said, I'm going to make my own barbecue sauce, but here's what I'm thinking. And she had calculated the nutrition with a commercial barbecue sauce, and she said, absolutely not, we can't have this much sugar. And then once she did it with the barbecue sauce I made, she said, oh, it's fine. so
Okay.
so yeah, you can do your own barbecue sauce, and that way you can control the amount of sugar. And that's a real easy thing to do in a slow cooker, as well as make sauces and pasta sauces and that kind of stuff.
Right. And
So
that's a good general summer eating tip to remember that when you're eating barbecued foods and wondering why you have a spike in your glucose, take a look at the side of that barbecue sauce bottle if you're mopping it on the chicken legs or whatever.
exactly. And
Yeah.
North Carolina, Eastern North Carolina, I mean, there are all kinds of different barbecue sizes, but if you
Mhm.
stick with like a Eastern North Carolina style, they tend to be vinegar based, and some people like that, and some people, I love it. I'm a vinegar
Mhm.
fiend. So those kinds of sauces tend to have less sugar, because
Good to know.
they're more focused on the vinegar. So
Right. Excellent.
yeah. Hmm.
Well, we've got a lot of great information here. I know I'll be coming back to this video and taking notes and getting ideas before my next party. Is there anything else before we sign off that you'd like to share with us or anything we missed? We love
Well,
recommendations.
just in general about summer eating, I think
Mhm.
one of something that I think is real fun to do is just go to the farmer's market and buy some weird vegetable you've never seen before or never cooked with before, and just talk to the folks who have grown the stuff and are there selling the stuff about what you should do with them. I didn't think I liked eggplant because the only ones I'd ever seen were those big purple seedy ones in the grocery store, and they just weren't
Mhm.
my cup of tea. But you go to a farmer's market and they have nice little skinny Japanese eggplants. They have little teeny African eggplants, and they'll tell you, hey, this is how you cook this. And I've discovered I like eggplant, certain types.
Ah,
So it's just fun. And another thing is that I have this one sort of corn guy I go to at the farmer's market. He has great corn. And he had this big pile of radishes there. And I'm like, what do you do
mhm.
with radishes? You throw them in salads, who cares? And he's like, he was trying to push these radishes. And I said, what do you do with them besides salads? He said, roast them. He said, they
Really?
are delicious roasted. They kind of take on, they lose that edge that radishes kind of
Mhm.
have, and they almost
Right.
taste like potatoes, but they're not
Oh,
potatoes. And I tried
wow.
it and they were delicious. So you learn all kinds of things just by going and talking to people. So I highly recommend, if you aren't a frequent customer of a farmer's market, try to find one near you. And that's where you get your fresh, right, in season stuff.
Right, and supporting your community growers and, your community farms, and I love that idea. It's outside of my comfort zone to buy a vegetable I've never seen before and don't know what to do with, but it never occurred to me to ask the farmer, the employees, what to do with it. That's
Right,
makes
right.
perfect sense, but it had never occurred to me, so thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, I've gotten
It
lots of great ideas from them. So
yeah. Yeah, and I'm lucky in that, my husband will eat anything, so I think he'd be excited to try some new vegetables that we've never had before,
yeah, yeah, and you can
instead of
find lots
Karen's
of
list
stuff.
of 4 food
They don't
vegetables
have to
that
be
we can eat.
starchy.
Yeah, yeah, great. Well, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure having you here, and, yeah, we've learned a lot. For anybody who's interested in picking up a copy of the Diabetes Pressure Cooker Cookbook and the Diabetes Slow Cooker Cookbook, you can find them on Amazon, and, yeah, we're gonna need to talk to you again soon, Shelby, and get some
All
more
right.
tips.
Yeah, it was great. Thanks for having me.